You're listening to Amazing Radio. This is Amazing Afternoons. I'm delighted to say that May is on the line with me right now. May, how are you doing?
I'm very good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Where do we find you today? Where are you based?
Right now, I'm in my house in London.
hmm And is the weather okay down there at the moment?
It really is. It's kind of sunny, so it's really like a crisp winter afternoon, if that's okay.
Yes. Very good. Very good, mate. We've been playing the single Shut Up with Object Blue here on Amazing Radio. Um, we really like it. It's moody, atmospheric, pop song, and we want to introduce you more to our listeners. So if you wouldn't mind, tell us a bit about yourself. How long have you been making music for?
I mean, I've been singing really for as long as I can remember. Like I was just always singing and making up. I was really like the annoying child, like constantly singing. But I think I made my first song when I was um 11, quite young, for my grandparents' anniversary. They were married for like 50 years. And so I made a little song for them that I performed at the party. Which looking back on it now, that song was really like, it was really like verse, pre-hook, hook. Like it was really proper pop structure, I guess, because that's maybe what I was listening to most. So that was my first song. And then from there on, I guess I released my first little SoundCloud thing as May when I was 15, something like that, 15, 16.
Yeah. So, what were those early influences? Were you surrounded by music in the household? Was your parents listening to music? Maybe siblings? What was it that was the early inspiration for you?
No, my parents aren't really music. I mean, at least not currently musical anymore. So there wasn't really. I also didn't really went to an arty school. I think I used to be really, really obsessed with Michael Jackson when I was a kid until I was like 11 or 12, like really deeply. Yeah, I was just very much into his music and the way that he was performing and stuff. So I think that was definitely my entry into pop music and the art of performing and like the world that's created around a project. And then ever since that, I don't know, since I was always singing, I guess listening to music and then making music just came really natural, but it wasn't really a conscious thing of like, oh, I'm gonna be making music right now. I don't really know where it started, but it was just always kind of there, I'd say.
Yeah. When did you start, making like a serious step towards it as a career? I mean, when did you start buying like instruments and production stuff and things like that?
I mean, I guess I bought my first mic when I was, yeah, 14, 15, about a year before releasing it. But at this point, I never thought it was gonna be, I never thought it was gonna be really seriously my job until honestly 2 years ago, until I moved to London. Because before that, I was also still at uni and I was always combining music with school. And I always thought it was so cool, but it was more on oh, I don't really have anything to lose, so let's just see how far it goes, rather than being like, oh, I'm really gonna do this. But
Mm.
since I moved to London, I mean, obviously it's all I ever wanted to do, but it was just a confidence or like capitalistic brainwash thing where it was like, oh no, you should stay in school. Yeah. But so yeah, since I moved to London, it's been really serious, I'd say. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but it sounds like it's organically grew from a hobby and a passion, which makes you true as an artist, I guess, if you're doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah, I think that's honestly a thing that I really value about because I grew up in Belgium, about Belgium. It's because it's such a small, but I think it's a really cool country. There was just when I started making music, it was so with my friends, it was so much like, okay, let's just see what happens. And like, wow, I really love what you do and you love what I do. So let's try and make stuff together. And I've heard from so many friends of mine in London that started making music maybe a little bit later on in their life that they're like, oh, it's so hard in London to find people who want to grow with you or who want to like explore things with you or like experiment on things. Because obviously, the city is so expensive, and lots of people who are here doing music, they're doing music as a job. So I think there's kind of this, I don't know, not unwillingness, but there's certain like parameters that come with making music, which kind of, I don't want to say, because obviously music scene in London is flourishing, but I think it's just a bit it's a bit sad. It's a bit like a shame. I think so much more could be happening. But I mean, I'm living here too. I understand why people are like that. But I think it was really cool. Yeah, growing up in Belgium, like I honestly didn't care about who was listening to my music. It didn't even occur to me the people were listening to my music. And looking back now that I'm obviously like a professional artist, I guess, I think I can feel how my like perception on music or making music has shifted a bit. And I'm really grateful that I started out in this very I don't want to say pure, but this very like innocent or very playful place with music. So I think that really did a lot for me.
Yeah, yeah, that all makes sense what you're saying there. I think you get to any major city and there's going to be a certain amount of competition, especially in the pop world as well. I think as well, it's going to be harder to cut through. If anything, is that where the ESEA helped out on this single as well to try and hook you up as well with like-minded people? Because I got the press release for the single "Shut Up" because it kind of came from nowhere. This single for me, but maybe that's helped you on this one.
Yeah, I think what ESEA are doing is so important for not just like Asian or Southeast Asian community, but just like for music in general. I feel like they're providing such a valuable platform with so many like very talented and experienced people I mean, for me to be doing something like this with like all these amazing other female Asian artists, I think it's so cool. I think what they're doing, yeah, like I said, is really important. And I think I talk about this so much. I think maybe a lot of artists talk about this so much, but the sense of community, not only in between artists or people who work in the music industry, but also as listeners. I think for such a long time, because of the hyper individualization of society, we kind of lost that. And I think organizations or platforms like ESEA really help like moving that back into the other direction and showing us or like reminding us of how important community is in any sense, obviously not just in music or like as a listener, but in any way. So yeah, no, definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
I think it's definitely important to have organizations like that to just somebody or a body, if you like, to have your back a little bit and help fight your corner because it is so hard to cut through, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. No, it's honestly really, really cool. But I also feel like it was because I know that the founder of ESEA, it didn't start with that. It also came from such an honest place, and it's not on a like, oh, let's take over the music industry with like very talented Southeast Asian artists or like execs, whatever. It just came from such an honest place, like, oh, let's all, help each other and talk and like, be friends with each other because we're all really nice people. So yeah, honestly, I really vouch for them.
That's amazing. Let's talk about your current influences and the single again. I can hear loads of great reference points in it. Billie Eilish, Caroline Polachek, Rina Sawayama, Charlie XCX. Would they be appropriate to reference?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think you just named like amazing pop stars for me. So yeah, for sure. I think influences, it always changes a bit, but I really love listening to Okay Lou, who's like an amazing Parisian artist. I mean, I'd say Parisian, I actually don't know. Okay Lou, Rosalia, FK Twigs, James Blake, used to be The Weeknd as well, Ariana Grande. Yeah, I think those are like my main influences. Together with the ones that you just mentioned, I love all their music as well that you just
Yeah.
said.
And I guess as a modern artist as well, you take influence not just from music, but also culture as well, and maybe literature, film. Is there anything that you've seen or read recently which is really sticking in there? Because not necessarily the book you've just read, but maybe something you read 2 years ago might come out in a song next week. It's it's
Hmm.
it's all about taking on as much as you can, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. I think that's really, really, yeah, really important. I think for me personally, because I did ballet in a conservatory till I was 18, I think subconsciously ballet, like the ballet and the art of ballet, really influenced me in my curation and what I think is pretty or what I think sounds pretty. It's like these really evident, for me, evident like forms of beauty or like of sounds. I think that really influenced me, as well as I guess like I used to read a lot of poetry when I was younger. Same thing, just like impression, like really evident beauty. I think I really appreciate that.
No, that makes total sense. And you mentioned ballet there. I guess that would give you a certain amount of discipline as well when you come to writing and recording. Ballet is all about discipline. And I guess if you're a solo artist as well, you've got to be disciplined and you've got to have self-imposed timelines and deadlines because I guess, you're in charge. And if you don't set a deadline and you're not disciplined, you'll get nothing completed.
No, for sure. And it was actually Caroline Polachek actually posted a video, like her speech that she was doing at an award show, I think yesterday, where she was talking about when you're, especially as an independent artist, especially as an upcoming artist, but even when you're more established, that you need to do so many things. You need to be like basically like a creative director, a songwriter, a stylist, and you need to do all of those things. Um, I mean, I really enjoy partnerships and working with people that are more experienced in certain fields, and I think that's really important too. But at the end of the day, yeah, it is that you need to do so many things and you need to have it all organized on yourself. And yeah, the discipline thing, ballet definitely gave me a lot of discipline. If anything, that's maybe like the biggest thing. I mean, also my mom, my parents, but
Yeah,
but
keep you in line. Yeah.
yeah.
So what's the plan for the rest of the year then? What's the next step? What can you tell us about your plans for 2024?
Well, I'm actually finishing off a new project, which will be rolling out in 2024. I don't think I can say much concreter things, but yeah, I'm really excited about that. Let's say, I think also Shut Up was such a nice bridge in between my two EPs because it feels like such an honest song, like Object Blue, and I made that song in 2 days, literally. And I've never done that before where you make a song in 2 days and then after that it's mixed, mastered, and released, which I think is really cool because yeah, it's easy to overthink or overcomplicate things, but this song feels very close to, I want to say, to both of us. But I'm really excited about the new stuff I'm working on. I'm really excited about it. I think sonically as well as visually, it's definitely like a next like page in the book, like a new chapter a little. Even though it's not like I'm not making alternative rock all of a sudden, but it's just like feels like a progression, which I'm really excited about.
We are excited about it as well, May. Thanks so much for taking the time to speak to us here on Amazing Afternoons this afternoon.
Thank you so much for having me.